tell us where lies the real value of doing a SLIC?
The whole beauty of SLIC is that the children understand what am I interested in. And not just that, even the peers and teachers start seeing you in a very different light. Who was conducting the Garba Interest Center? Now, of course, she had her planned sessions, but she took every opportunity whenever there was a free time to say, come on, let's practice the steps. And when there was a Garba celebration in our school, she said, okay, remember, we learned those steps, let's do it again. What was beautiful was I saw the leadership skills coming out in this child. So you really start understanding your child better. What is really important is also that the child starts realizing that nothing is of value unless shared.
Over the years, how has being a practitioner of SLIC impacted you as an educator?
See, one of the things is that I've in fact started seeing children and understanding where does or who has the sense of responsibility, okay? Because you see the children, some children specifically, taking a lot of responsibility about their whole session, about have I done my planning, have I got my resources, have I gone back to my teacher to reflect on my planning. All these things gets me to understand the children better and how they think or take responsibility. Second is I have also realized that never ever have something planned at home, because the minute you send it home, parents do get involved, and when they get involved, it's difficult to know which is really the child's thinking and where has it been flavored by the parents' thinking. So not the best way to get the child also to connect to the planning. Thirdly, when I saw my children putting in all that effort, towards the planning and implementation and reflection, I started becoming a lot more aware of not taking my practice for granted and to continue with a drive to become better every today. And finally, it has actually made me a more versatile teacher, because when I was part of the sessions, I was doing what children were doing, and that might necessarily not have been my inclination or interest or for that matter competency. But I realized I can do it. And therefore, I've started now being more audacious in my planning and what I want to do with my children. Along with this, I started, understanding that anybody can teach and everybody can learn. Which means this whole thing, that I'm the teacher, I have to do it, was broken. And it was more about it has nothing to do with competency.
Forum, can you share with us an example of a SLIC that deeply impacted the facilitator?
This process actually has an impact on every student facilitator, but the one that comes to my mind immediately is the student who was in grade 1, was very good with origami skills, but at the same time was very quiet in the class, did not really have verbal communication with everybody. But as the process, of the planning and executing the session, reflection, peer feedback started taking place, not only was he able to engage his peers through his skill of origami, but also started building the ability to have conversation and interaction through the sessions. So I think it not only made his strength visible, but also built his own social and emotional well-being through this entire process, which I think was of great value.
What challenges did you and your team face while designing the SLIC process?
The ones that I can really think of was, one was the timetabling for these sessions, and second was, more importantly, ensuring that the entire process was child driven, and as teacher and parents you do not overtake or start making it your ideas rather than theirs.
Have you ever discontinued a SLIC? If yes, what were the reasons?
It does not happen often, but yeah, we've had instances where, for example, there was this girl, very good with her reading skills, her peers also knew it. But when she started conducting the interest center, she was not loud enough. And that led to the participants not being engaged. Or in fact, there was another situation where the boy was very good at planning, very good in implementation, but was absent half the time. And when we did reflection with participants, there was a vote of no confidence and it had to be discontinued. But that's where the teacher comes in. Rather than saying it's okay, it's her responsibility to sit with the child and reflect as to how can he or she become better. Because ultimately we want them to believe, no, that if I decide to do something, I can work on it and do it.